Alright, that was my first time using plasma cutter. I bought this little Hobart 12 CI. It's basically a plasma cutter with a built-in air compressor. I have had an old cheap, what was that thing I had? It was a really cheap one and it didn't work that well. This one works better. I'm sure I need to get used to how to use it. I didn't read any instructions. I just plugged it in and started cutting with it. One thing I did find is if I clean an area to hook the ground to and then clean an area to start my cut, then it works a lot better than it does if I don't. So anyway, I've cut 6 of these little 2-foot braces. I'm gonna go back there in the new shed and put them up on the wall, and then I'm gonna make some wall storage up high back there. That's the plan. Thinking with these shelves is I want to put up something that's big enough to store some things that I don't use every day on, but high enough so that they don't use up my garage space. And this is kind of a good example. Honey Baby made a comment yesterday on how high the ceiling is. So because it is this high, if I reach up about as far as I can reach, I can touch the bottom of these shelves, which means I can walk under here. And it won't, you know, like if you got a set of shelves, it limits your garage space if it's down where you can't walk to where they are. So I got a couple of big things on my trailer that I need them, but I don't need them around every day. And it'd be nice to store out of the way. Things like this. Now, this is going to get fancy. I can move my ladder so I don't stand on my tippy toes to put that up there. Alright. So that's one big thing out of the way. I've got another one here. I put it up there too. By the way, I bought this little Ryobi pressure washer up at the Home Depot the other day. I've had several in my life, gas and electric. Never had one that I was terribly fond of. It seems like I'm always blowing out the hose or something bad happens to it. This particular one works really well. And it's got a different type of hose. My others have had big heavy rubber hoses. They don't hold up to the pressure. That's a smaller, kind of like a nylon hose. And it felt like it did a really good job. Pretty lightweight for a pressure washer. And it does just fine. So I got a couple things up there. And I've got enough pieces to keep going with my shelves a little further. And I've got a few little boards that I can use to complete that shelf with. If I put 2 more of these little arms up here, then I can go out to, I don't want to go all the way to that door, but you know, go out toward that a ways, and then maybe put a couple more things up there. So I'll go ahead and put those arms into place while I'm messing with it. What I do on these is I use the self-tapping screws to drill the hole, but I don't drill it so far that the threads get involved. And I drill a hole in my metal piece that I'm using for a bracket, and then I drill a hole in the wall, and then I put the two together and shoot it through there with the threads. Now you'll notice there's no threads back up here on the tip. That's a drilling tip. Out here there's threads, so I try not to get the threads involved until I get both pieces lined up, and then shoot the whole thing through at once so that the threads lock these two pieces together. And when I drill the hole in the little bottom piece, I line it up so that my drill fits in there nice and straight, and I put it on a wood block like this to make my hole. And then after I get up on the wall, I use that hole. I line up this piece. Basically, I line it up the arm with this ridge right here. And then I drill enough hole to put a dimple in it. Then I take the piece down, finish drilling the hole, and then come back and finish it on top. Got this where it kind of fits right up on my shoulder. And then I line up this line and this line, and I stick this in, and I start drilling the hole. I don't finish it. Try to get enough hole to make a little dimple in the wall that I'll be able to find when I go back. I put the tip right in that dimple where the hole should be. Now put this back up and line these two holes up. Stick that little pin into the hole. Pretty solid. Now I put one there, and then I'll get a shorter board to go across here. Got enough room for one more board out here. I think I might have one. Well, let's see, this might be one right here. I'll go measure the other one though, because these are, that one there is unplaned and these are planed. What I'll do is I'll put a screw, a little piece of wood and a couple of screws here to tie these together. And I'll get through. Let's see how long another board is. Okay, shelves. Now, I don't necessarily have to put anything on them, but if I want to, they're there. And one of the things I want to do up here in the garage, I've got a lot of stuff stored, and I want to have it so my garage is not a storage area but a work area, which means a lot of things that are stored could be stored back there. Let's go take a little quick look and I'll show you what I'm thinking here. Now, one thing I know I've got a lot of stored in here is Chevrolet parts, which is going to go on that engine. I've got a carburetor, I think plug wires, lifters, some wheel adapters, some valve covers, some, parts. And I'm going to use all of them, but not today. And they could be stored somewhere else. All of that stuff up in the corner is either Chevrolet parts or Rambler parts. And actually, most of this stuff across up here is the same thing. all these bottles, they could be stored somewhere. Or not. So anyway, having that little shelf gives me a little place to start. So let's see that fan right there. That could be stored out there. Okay, so there's my first experience with the Hobart cutting plasma torch, and we'll move on from there. Hope you enjoy.